Hi, Assalamualaikum. Here I will show you how to set up your computer hardware and install Windows 10. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Azira Fahana binti Jamaluddin and I'm from Group G. Here are the safety before we start the installation of computer hardware. Okay, first is wear proper apparel. Second, please unplug all computer equipment. And third, please keep your work area clean. Next, check for damaged part if have, and use an anti-static mat. Okay. Before that, you must read the information on the power supply carefully, and the last is retain all screws during a system disassembly. Okay, let me introduce the general overview of desktop computers. It comes from 7 essential parts, which is case, power supply, motherboard, CPU, RAM, hard drive, graphic card. These are the fundamental parts of any desktop computer. Let's look at the case. The case is nothing more than a big hunk of plastic that houses everything else. Some of them have more or less physical space. Some of them have different parts where you can put screw in or this. But at the end of the day, all the case really does is provide a nice enclosed system for everything else. Next up, we have the power supply. This part of your computer, almost always located on the bottom, is the part that plugs into the wall and provide all of the other parts with the electricity needed to do their thing. The last is the motherboard. Motherboard is a wide and flat circuit board that all the other components plug into. This is the part that lets all these components and electrical current confusing data between each other. Well, not particularly expensive, the motherboard is the most important component because without it, you have nowhere to put anything else. Now, let's move on the more complex part, the ones that deal with data. The four main components to keep in mind here are CPU, RAM, hard drive, and graphic cards. I'm going to establish some terminology. Keep in mind that CPU is also known as the central processing unit or processor. These terms all refer to the same thing. Next, RAM stands for random access memory and is often referred to as just memory. Drive is often referred to as a disk drive or storage. And a graphic card is also known as GPU or graphic processing unit. For this explanation, I will be using the terms CPU, RAM, hard drive, and graphic cards. So let's start with the CPU. The CPU is where your computer does. It is not really capable of storing very much data at all. It's very good at doing things with data. CPU is just a brain. It's just the center part of your computers. Basically, everything that happens in your computer goes through your CPU at the same point. Now, let's talk about RAM and hard drive at the same time because they have a very unique relationship. Your hard drive is where all of your data is stored. When your computer tells you are running low on space, it is because your hard drive is almost full. All of the data that make up the video, pictures, document, project file are stored here, while hard drive can store lots of data. They are relatively bad at accessing quickly. Everything is accessed through a teeny little wire here, and because most hard drives are made up of spinning disks. Is another form of storage, but RAM sacrifices storage space for nearly instant accessibility. Unlike your hard drive, which is send all of data through a little tiny wire, your RAM is arranged in this long fan stick that insert into your motherboard. Besides, RAM allows you to run intensive programs while the hard drive allow you have the more of this in program installed. It also allows you to have more of the data they're referencing, whether it be pictures or video. Lastly is a graphic card. Your graphic card is essential and entire computer in and of itself. It's dedicated to the sole task of figuring out what pixels need to light up on your screen and what color and what time. Okay, let's go to the next part. I will show you step-by-step instruction on computer hardware setup. Okay, this is a CPU cabinet. First, you must remove back screws. Remove all back screws. And then take side cover off. Make sure keep the screw in the container. Okay, this is the motherboard. There are mounting slots on the motherboard. You must put the RAM using an alignment notch at the mounting slot on the motherboard. That is the alignment notch. So you put here, place the RAM and press firmly into the slot. Okay, next this is the fan wire. You connect the fan connectors in the fan slot on the motherboard. There is the fan slot, so you put the connector at there. We go to the power supply. This is the largest connector from power supply cabling. And there are the more connector from power supply cabling. Okay, next we will mount the power supply at their place in the case. Put the power supply properly and then fasten with screw to the case mounting points. Okay, this is a input-output rear plate or input-output shield. You put it in its place on the case. Okay, next we want to install the motherboard into the case. You must fasten the motherboard in place. Make sure the position of the motherboard is same as the input-output rear plate that was installed earlier. You must install firmly the screws on the motherboard. Next step, this is a hard drive. You mount it in the case drive base. That is the drive base. You put the hard drive and then fix the drive in place with screw through the case frame into the case mounting holes that located on the hard drive. Okay, next this is an optical drive. You mount optical drive in the case by fixing with screw through the case frame into the case mounting holes that located on the optical drive. Okay, the next is we want to plug the largest cabling connector from the power supply cabling into the motherboard power connector. Then we must plug the 4-pin cabling from the power supply cabling into the CPU power connector. And you plug in power cabling to the hard drive. Okay, this is a SATA cable. you must connect the optical drive to the motherboard using a SATA cable. Then another SATA cable is connected to the motherboard to the hard drive. Connect the optical drive to the motherboard using a SATA cable. Then another SATA cable is connected to the motherboard to the hard drive. Okay, next, this is a front panel connectors. It will be plugged into the motherboard. You connect any front panel audio connectors to the motherboard front audio header. And then connect any front panel USB connectors to the motherboard USB headers. Then you must manage your cables neatly. Okay, after cable management, you must place the side cover back on. Secure the side panel with case screws. Finally, we have done computer hardware installation. Okay, the last section, I will show you step by step how to install Windows 10. Okay, before that, we are going to need to take access to a laptop or PC so we can download Windows 10. The second thing is a USB flash drive, minimum capacity of 8 GB. Make sure it's not got anything important on it. First, you type download Windows 10 into Google and click the first result. Next, you click the download tool now to download the Windows Media Creation tool. Once that download, run the program, you will have to accept the terms of agreement. Then you will come to this screen. It's going to ask you what you want to do. So you click the second option and then next. The screen asks you which language edition and architecture you want to use. Just leave that all default. Next, it will ask you which media you want to use. We are using a USB flash drive. By the way, before you click next, plug in this USB. We need it ready for the next step. So on this screen, you just select the USB flash drive you want to install Windows and then hit the next. The Windows 10 will download and install itself onto the USB flash drive. Okay, congratulations, you just made yourself a bootable USB drive with Windows 10 on. So now, grab your bootable USB drive, plug it into USB port on your PC and then turn it on and then it should boot from flash drive. After you will see the Windows setup screen. The first screen, just double check to make sure the language is correct and then you click next. Then click install now button. The next is going to ask you for a product key. Just click I don't have a product key. Okay, from here you just need to choose which edition window you want to install. So I recommended you to use a Windows 10 Pro. Then you hit the next. Okay, the next screen you click the I accept the license term and then next. Next, we are going to be asked what type of installation we want to upgrade. So we go to the second option. Okay, the next screen you will be asked to choose where to install Windows. We just only have one drive connected, so you just click the next and then the Windows 10 will install itself. The only thing you have to do is the final part of setup, which includes stuff like connecting internet, signing into your Microsoft account. So now you can use Windows 10 completely. In conclusion, I can understand about computers more clearly and I can practice it in my life. I also hope this video can solve the problem faced by many Kamaria about how to install computer hardware and Windows 10. Thank you.